You ever see someone destroy their own life over a $23 trash can? Well, that's how my year started. And by the time it ended, the woman who tried to bully my family out of the neighborhood was out $12,000. Her Escalade looked like it lost a fight with a dump truck, and every single neighbor had a front row seat. Go ahead, laugh, because I sure did. I'm Marcus Holloway, and this is the story of how a little bit of concrete turned HOA hell into the most satisfying win of my life. It always starts with something small, right? One Tuesday morning, I'm in the kitchen with a mug of bad coffee trying to convince my kids, Emma and Tyler, that breakfast cereal counts as a food group. Then crack. That sharp, unmistakable sound of plastic exploding out front. I glance out the window and see Brenda Whitmore, our self-declared compliance officer, rolling her pearl-white Escalade down the street, the mangled remains of my new trash cans scattered all over the driveway. You know, the typed clipboard in one hand, HOA rulebook in the other, fake smile that could freeze a lava flow. She leans out her window, all sympathy. Oh my Marcus, these streets are just so narrow. Hope you weren't attached to that old thing. Lady, I just bought that thing last week. I try to let it go, but then it happens again Wednesday, then Thursday, and by Friday I'm thinking, maybe my trash can's got a death wish. Until Mrs. Olivia, my neighbor across the street, pulls me aside. She does it on purpose, Marcus. Every morning. Looks right at your can, then rams it. Now, I might be an electrician, but I know a setup when I see one. So I play nice catch Brenda during her power walk, ask if we can work something out. She gives me that smile, the one that says she'd ticket you for the color of your front door if she could. Marcus, maybe if you understood community living, you'd realize there's a better time to set out your trash. Seriously, I start digging into city ordinances and our HOA rules like it's my night job. Turns out I'm placing my trash exactly where I'm supposed to, within 3 feet of the Curb City's requirement. HOA doesn't even mention timing or materials. Still, every week, new trash can. My kids are getting embarrassed, the neighborhood's starting to whisper, and my custody evaluator's writing down unusual neighborhood tension. Not exactly helping my case. Then Brenda steps it up, certified letter official, HOA fine legal threats about traffic hazards. That's when I get mad. I spend my weekend gathering evidence, Ring doorbell set to capture every crime property survey, even a written statement from Mrs. Olivia, her hands shaking like she's signing up for witness protection. You know what I mean? Meanwhile, Brenda's lighting up the Nextdoor app, calling me a hazard to children, accusing my trash of forcing responsible drivers into oncoming traffic. I get calls from City Hall, 4 complaints, all filed within 15 minutes in the middle of the night. All from concerned neighbors with handwriting suspiciously similar to Brenda's. My buddy Dave, who works permits, laughs so hard he nearly drops his phone. So I show up at the HOA board meeting folder in hand city code printed in size 14 font. The room goes silent. Brenda's at the table, blazer pressed, hands shaking. I lay it all out, proof ordinance survey, even a letter from an attorney friend who specializes in property rights. The president stammers the board tables the matter, and Brenda, well, she corners me in the parking lot, hissing about how people like you ruin neighborhoods. The racial undertones, not subtle. My kids see me come home looking worn out, ask if we'll have to move again. Let me tell you, that stings. But then the tide shifts. Neighbors start talking about board overreach, folks are whispering in the grocery aisle. Brenda's morning attacks slow down, but then comes wave 2 grass too long by a 1/4-inch mailbox color, not heritage blue anymore. Screen tears so tiny you'd need a microscope. Each comes with a $50 fine. I walk the neighborhood with a camera, find 14 houses with the same violations. Guess how many get fined? Just me. That's when I meet Dale at Home Depot. Dale's been pouring concrete longer than I've been alive, and when I tell him my story, he grins and says, "Concrete can, Marcus. Nothing in the code says you can't. I spend $47 on supplies, reinforce a standard trash can with 60 pounds of steel, and concrete, make it look perfectly normal on the outside." Monday morning, I set it out as usual and wait. 6:15. Here comes Brenda, eyeing the can like it owes her money. She hits it hard. Instead of a crunch, it's a dull thud. Her running board folds like origami. My can doesn't even flinch. She tries again. More damage to her Escalade, my can still standing. Pure poetry. She keeps at it day after day, her SUV taking the beating neighborhood kids gathering to watch. My daughter starts calling it the concrete can derby. Tyler tries to sell tickets. Meanwhile, Brenda's losing her mind, caught on my cameras at midnight with a bathroom scale trying to figure out why my trash can is now indestructible. Next, she tries weaponizing bureaucracy, building inspectors' anonymous complaints demands for property access. Nothing sticks. By now, I've researched every law, every precedent, every court case about HOA overreach. I politely refuse access without a warrant. She's livid. But here's where it gets juicy. Patricia Lopez, a board member who actually has a soul, tips me off that Brenda's been pushing contracts through to her own company. I dig into the HOA's financials, thank you public records, and find $23,000 in contracts awarded to Whitmore Construction, a company Brenda and her late husband own. She's been voting to pay herself with our dues, all while harassing anyone who questions her. I loop in my attorney, gather more evidence, organize my neighbors, door-to-door petitions, presentations, even local news coverage. The community rallies. My trash can, once a punchline, is now a legend. Brenda gets desperate, spray paints move on my trash can, pressure washed off in seconds. Hires private security to watch my house. Even plants a GPS tracker under my truck, which the police take as evidence. She files a bogus restraining order that the judge laughs out of court. At this point, her Escalade has totaled her business under investigation and her reputation in the trash, no pun intended. The night of the big board meeting, the whole neighborhood turns out press police, even the kids' teachers. I roll in my concrete can like it's Exhibit A. I lay out everything, the collisions, the fake violations, the embezzlement. The room goes silent. Officer Martinez from the local PD walks in with a warrant. Brenda tries to play the victim, but the evidence is overwhelming: contract fraud, harassment, insurance fraud, you name it. The board votes her out on the spot. She's escorted out in handcuffs, mascara running, neighbors actually cheering. Yeah, that happened. Within weeks, the HOA is audited. Everyone gets refund checks. Patricia is elected new board president, and transparency becomes the new neighborhood standard. My custody battle turns in my favor. The judge literally cites courage and advocacy for community justice. My kids go from embarrassed to proud. Tyler starts a YouTube channel about HOA disputes. Emma writes her college essay about fighting corruption with concrete evidence. I get so many calls for electrical work I have to hire 2 new guys. And that $23 trash can. We mounted it in the community center plaque and all. Every September we host concrete can days, bounce houses, barbecue, HOA rights workshops. Not bad for a family that used to hide from their neighbor. So what's the moral? Sometimes the best way to beat a bully isn't yelling or giving in, it's outsmarting them, building allies, and never backing down. And if you're fighting an HOA Karen with a $60,000 SUV and an ego to match a little bit of concrete, goes a long way. Drop a comment, tell me your HOA horror story, where you're watching from, and if you've ever outsmarted a bully with a bit of DIY. Let's swap stories and help each other keep the Karens in check. Hit subscribe for more justice, more laughs, and more sweet, sweet concrete revenge.